welcome back to season 2 of 4 to 4 Podcast. I'm your host, Hunna, and I'm here for episode 2 with my guest.
Dáminí.
Yes, he is a revolutionary, our first revolutionary that we've had on this podcast, period. So it's about to be exciting. We're about to get into it. And yeah,
Turn up.
so we just gonna start off light. Where did you grow up? Where are you from? What's going on?
I grew up Southside Richmond. I was born in Southside Richmond at MCV, now VCU. Um, then eventually we moved to Charles City when I was in the sixth grade, 12 years old.
Okay.
Um, but yeah.
How was that transition?
Where my dad felt the need, he saw us starting to get into the hood mentality
Yeah.
and lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, and I was type of hood child doing some of everything, throwing rocks over bridges.
Yeah,
like-
starting off slight, but it's gonna grow
So,
into something way worse
right.
if we stay in this type of environment.
Right. So he was like, "Okay, we moved to Charles City. You can throw all the rocks you want to."
Literally, because it's the country.
Right.
And so my family is from Charles City. My whole family.
Yes.
I'm not, but everybody else is. So it's like giving very much country, very much no grocery store. Look, no grocery store. Just put a little Dollar General down there, Jones.
Right.
So it's very country.
Right.
So, of course, it was different coming from the south side of Richmond to Charles City.
Oh my god.
And the schools, I know the schools was different, like
Oh
going
my
from
God.
elementary school to middle school and the size of the school. Was it hard for you making new friends, meeting new
Well-
people, getting into new things?
In Richmond, we lived down the street from the school, so I shouldn't have been walking to school, but
But you was.
in elementary school, we was walking to school, and the difference was in Charles. Once I moved to Charles City, you wait at the end of your driveway for the
For the
bus
bus.
stop.
That's hilarious.
Right.
Because that's
so,
a fact.
Right. So we didn't have. So I wasn't used to buses because we walked to school.
Yeah. How many of y'all is it?
Oh, you talk about like children?
Yeah, you said we.
Oh yeah.
We.
So my dad has Well, I got one older brother, two younger sisters, and a younger brother, and then I got two stepbrothers that's older. also.
Okay. So it was a few of y'all.
Oh yeah. I was next to the oldest, but once I moved to Charles City, I was like the oldest.
Oh, so did you feel like you had to be like a good influence on your
Oh,
younger
yeah.
siblings?
The leader. And
Were you held accountable like by that by your dad?
yes, he was more harder on me than my sisters and brothers.
Okay.
He made sure he told me once you get 18, you getting out. Like my sisters and brothers, they stayed around till they were like
Yeah.
21.
But you was the oldest,
Right.
so it was like
Right. He's like, you got to
you
go.
lead by example.
Right. He
Do
dropped
you-
me off at college at Virginia Union.
Okay.
Good luck.
So when you graduated from Charles City.
Yeah, Charles City High School. Yeah.
Yes, and you were salutatorian.
Salutatorian.
Yes, he was salutatorian, very smart, very much educated, even with the transition from school to school, like moving around. We love to hear it.
Yes,
We
they
love to
got me
see it.
through. They got me through. Like I was actually bullied in school, but
Mm.
when I started like getting into my academics,
Mhm.
so the football players and the basketball players, they needed help with their work.
Yes, that's. Oh wait,
So-
this sounds like a movie.
Right. So they came to me like, and at that time I did change my name. So at that time my name was Steven. So they was like, "Oh, Steve, like help me with
What
my
you
work.
mean, like?
Like help with my work."
What you mean, like your teachers was calling you Steven too?
Yeah, that was my name at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am weak. That just to me laugh. That's the
and-
identity theft.
But that actually kind of helped build. Like I actually helped some people graduate from Charles City High School.
Well, that's
by
good.
helping them with their work. Yeah.
That is good. So then, they're probably never gonna tell people that though.
Oh no.
But
they know who
they
they
know
are.
it's good. They know what it is. They know the vibes.
Right.
So when you went to college, you went to Virginia Union first.
Yes.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed there for 2 years. I was promised a full ride. The
on
person-
like an educational scholarship.
Yes.
Okay.
The person who promised me the full ride only cut me a check for $2,000.
Oh, that's not even
And
gonna.
if you know anything about private schools, it's like $30,000 plus
Yeah, I'm like, what is
a
that
year.
covering? Not
A
even
year, right?
housing. Not, like, what is that? Books?
So that explains student debt.
Yes.
Right. So, but yeah, so I went there for 2 years. I did not like Virginia Union was not my um view of what college is supposed to be like.
Okay.
We had cockroaches. We had
Yeah, you was like, we back. Never mind.
right. We
We back. Like,
we
I'm
back.
like, we
We back in
back.
Hillside Court. Like,
Like, I done came from, became salutatorian, and now we
and the
back here.
crazy part is, my first choice was Howard. I was supposed to go to Howard. And I
Okay,
was
period.
going on a salutatorian scholarship, so they would have paid for the first 2 years. I'm like, I can figure out the other 2 years.
Yeah.
But this guy promised me a Fort ride. So
So
I'm like,
you was like, duh, like, we gonna take that. It just
right.
only makes the most sense.
So, long story short, it didn't work out. I transferred to ODU.
Mm.
They
My cousin went
they
second
ran
year.
out of they ran out of housing. I was there.
What year was this?
This was 2008.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I was a student for 2 weeks.
At ODU, and you said I had to go because you ain't had nowhere to stay.
Right, I had nowhere to stay.
Yeah.
My cousin, she was in the Navy. She was staying in 757, and it wasn't good. So I'm just like, okay, I gotta find something to do.
Yeah.
At this time, I started getting into
some
some
stuff
stuff.
that you had, some
Right.
stuff that you had been bought out
but really just trying to hustle. Because I'm out here on my own. Supposed to be a college student.
Supposed to have a full ride.
You done
got
my dad
kicked out. Yeah, like you had to go. It was over with for you.
So I mean, I did what I had to do.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do. Get by.
Just to get by.
But you not there no more.
Oh no.
And after ODU, you went somewhere else.
So after ODU,
where did you graduate from?
See, that part. I haven't graduated, but I make it known that I have more than enough credits to graduate.
Because you'd have been to more than enough schools.
Oh my God, I'd have been to 6 schools.
Oh wow. Yes. Oh yeah. So, at that point.
Yeah.
Hang it up.
And that's the thing. A lot of colleges, they want you, if you have more than enough credits, they don't want to just give you a degree. You have to take their curriculum.
Literally, you have to. That's the only way. I literally, I'm sorry. Y'all, like, this is crazy. I literally have this nightmare. So, I graduated 2020. COVID happened. Couldn't walk, none of that. But I have this nightmare that, like, I'm back in college. And mind you, I did all the right things. Went to see my counselor or whatever. Yeah, went to see my counselor at the end of every semester to make sure I'm on the right path, taking the right classes I need to take, and all this stuff. And I just have this nightmare repeatedly that I'm like, in my last year, I'm ready. I done finished the last semester, and they tell me that, well, no, they send me my diploma, and then they send me a letter retracting my diploma, saying that I'm short by 1 credit. Yes, a nightmare, and I'm like, yeah, and I just have that recurring nightmare. It's really crazy.
So what did you do for that 1 credit?
Oh, in my nightmare?
No, like.
Oh, that's not my reality.
Oh, okay.
My reality is I was on point, and I graduated, no retraction. Okay. But that's my nightmare, and I think it's because I never got to walk across the stage. I never got to experience that, so it's like. Trauma. Yeah. That's what we gonna call it. But no, they love you have to take the credits of that school. That's the whole point.
Yes. And the trauma piece, because me not finishing school, it was building up trauma. Like every time I saw somebody graduate, like that would make me feel bad.
Yeah.
So I had to start like putting that stuff aside to really be happy for people, especially people that I graduated with and those graduating behind me. But knowing that I still had the knowledge.
You talking about graduating from high school with?
No. Well, yes, graduated from high school and those
behind
me. So I had to put those things aside and learn that you gotta be happy for people regardless.
Yes,
whether you experience traumas or not.
Yeah.
And like I said, knowing that I have that knowledge regardless.
That's what I was gonna
And
say.
can't nobody take that from me.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
And
but
can't
you
nobody,
have that experience. You have the knowledge from all those 6 different schools
oh
that
my
you done
God.
went to.
Yes.
Like, just because you ain't got like a physical paper to
Yeah.
say, yeah, but you in your head, clearly you already know you became a whole
Oh yeah.
revolutionary. Like, you, oh, this don't.
And that's what I was about to say. My schooling turned helped me with my movement work. So it's
Okay.
like,
How so?
oh my God, like for one, my major was criminal justice. I wanted to be a homicide detective. Well, my first goal was to be a lawyer, but
Mm.
had to find out you had to be a good liar,
Oh,
and
you
I'm
wasn't
not
good
a
at
good liar. I'm not a good liar.
that.
Like you could tell instantly, like you lied.
You lied. Please. Not the truth.
So then I wanted to be a homicide detective. So I majored in criminal justice.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found out you don't have to go to college to be a homicide detective. You only have to be
Really?
no. You only got to go through the academy,
Oh, wow.
and then depending on at least 2 years, you got to do at least 2 years, and then if they like you,
Mm.
they can make you a detective.
Okay. I didn't know
So when I
that.
found that out, I'm like, I'm taking all these classes
For what?
for what?
Yeah.
But it did teach me like the history of like criminal justice, like how blacks in America are criminalized, like the
Mm-hmm.
history of that, like how police, like a lot of people don't know police didn't even used to carry guns, and still in a lot of countries they don't carry guns.
I didn't know that.
Only in America, police carry guns.
I did not know that. And I have a minor in criminology.
Yes, and so when I would start learning the history of criminology and criminal justice,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and they started carrying guns when they started chasing slaves, the patty rollers. That's when they
Mm.
started carrying guns.
That's crazy.
And
For
now
us.
with the criminal justice, police brutality,
Mm-hmm.
that's where that stuff kind of stemmed from.
Wow. I never
Yeah.
knew
So
that.
that's what, and me learning that, so that helps me in the movement.
Today.
Right.
And that's
Right.
crazy because at the time you over here looking at like, why am I doing this?
Right.
But look how God worked.
Yes.
Yes, literally.
Yes. And then like being out there in protests and rallies, like I knew like when the police be like, okay, this is an unlawful assembly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
Is
okay,
it?
what you mean?
Do it be an unlawful assembly?
According to law,
Okay.
is if it's more than a certain amount of people, y'all
They call
causing
it an unlawful.
disturbance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Even though it's a protest.
right, and a part of my movement work, at first they wasn't even announcing that it was an unlawful assembly at first. They would just start with the tanks, with the pepper spray and
Yeah,
stuff.
the water
So
hoses.
from the work that we did in Ferguson, they had to start announcing, okay, this is an unlawful assembly.
Okay.
These are the chemicals we're about to use. You know, they had
Yeah.
to. The police department had to start announcing
Announcing
that
it.
stuff. Yeah.
So you was in Ferguson.
Oh yes. That's what
Oh.
started my movement work.
Okay.
Oh
Yes.
yes.
Well, I read his bio, but so that y'all know, let them know how you got into it.
Well, I was working for the Department of Social Services in the state of Missouri, and I was sitting there at work one day, and just so happened, looking at my phone, I see the body laying in the street. Not even that far from my job, like at least 15 minutes.
Mm.
And so I looked at it about 1 o'clock. I'm like, okay, so black people got shot by the police. You know, it's something
This is
that
a reoccurring thing that's
right,
happening. Yeah.
right. Then looked at like 3, 4 o'clock. His body still
In the
laying
street.
in the street on a hot summer day in August. You
And
know,
that's crazy.
rage instantly started going through my body. I'm like, what can I do? Well, I can't just sit here, even at work.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and just let this go on.
Yeah.
As soon as I got off work, I found out. I looked on social media to find out where everybody was meeting up at.
Mm-hmm.
I was right there.
And that was the start.
That was the start of it, and then I started being introduced to people in different organizations. I was already in a union then, so then I found about my black union organization, which is called Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, or CBTU, and I found out that they was out there too. I'm like, what? So we got some black people out here too. But the crazy part is, other unions like labor, they didn't want to support it at first.
Why not?
Because they feel like, oh, that's black issues. We don't want to get involved. Like we don't want to.
Yeah, they don't. I get
we don't
it.
want to make no politicians mad. We don't want to, And so I was one of the ones that stood up and like Michael Brown's mom. She was a union member, She worked at a grocery store, and she was a part of the union called United Food and Commercial Workers
Okay.
Union. And her union is a racist union. I'm just being
Yeah.
100. It's a
Yeah.
racist union out there in St. Louis, and they refused to go out there to support her.
And she worked for them.
She worked for them. She was a dues paying member of their union. They refused. So, and other unions was the same way. Because
Wow.
people don't know Missouri is very racist, but St. Louis and Kansas City is where most of the black people are.
Okay.
So they call rural Missouri Missouri. That's where all the
Mm.
racist folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that being said, like unions, they was reluctant, especially if they had white leadership, and like, no, we don't want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
So I had to start pressing the issue. Okay, this is a black sister. You know, her son was going to a trade school once he graduated high school. She's already a union member, paying y'all dues. Why?
Yeah.
Why y'all not supporting her? So then the national AFL-CIO, who's over all the unions across the country, they came to St. Louis, want to know how can we get involved. So I was one of the ones to speak out. Like, this is what y'all can do. Y'all can start doing this. Y'all can start doing that. First of all, we need y'all out there in the streets with us.
But it's crazy that it took like the overarching power, to come down for people to then be like, then, not you. I'm talking about like other people. Now you want to hop on the bandwagon, but it's easy to say, I don't want nothing to do with this, and when it has nothing to do, like you couldn't even see it being your son or your dad or your grandpa. You can't even see that, because how could you put yourself in our shoes?
Right. And that caused, like, there was a lot of people that didn't want to support, and that caused friction against the people who did. But eventually, everybody got on the bandwagon. Yeah. And as you can see, it turned into a world movement. And sad to say, the guy who killed Michael Brown, he's still employed as a police officer. But at the same time, we got laws and different things in place. Even in unions, now unions, matter of fact, after that, unions started creating committees, like civil rights and equity, different, or women's rights, or black. They started doing all this stuff around black issues after that situation. Yeah. And they came up with a report. And one thing about the AFL-CIO, all the unions that under their umbrella got to follow their not their orders, but
the rules that they have
in place. Yeah, to continue to being a member of the AFL-CIO.
So do you feel like other states need to adapt the rules that have been put in place in Missouri?
Yes, and number one is Virginia, because Virginia is an anti-right to work state. That means they are anti-union. They do not. Is
that why people go on like strikes?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Unions are here in Virginia.
Okay.
But
I was about to say, I've heard of unions.
Yeah, like UPS workers. Yeah. They are under a union called the Teamsters. Okay. They're like the bus drivers for in Richmond. They're under a union. The VA workers for the Veterans Affairs. They're under a union. So it's unions all over Virginia. AT&T workers, they in my union, CWA, AT&T, Verizon workers. Okay. Yeah. So they're all over Virginia laws, and most southern, and it's not just Virginia, most southern states are right to work. Meaning, and right to work goes back to the 1920s, and it was laws that was imposed to keep black people out of unions because white people didn't want to call black people their brother or sister. Wow. So they imposed, and they still have these type of laws in place. In Virginia, it's a right to work state.
That's insane.
Yes, like Virginia, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, so all the Alabama, Mississippi.
But they love to try to keep black people behind.
Yes,
and keep us stagnant, keep us comfortable, complacent in the same areas that they wanted us to be in the 1920s, like you said. That's why these laws are in place. Right. Yes.
And uneducated. Like, a lot of people who don't have this knowledge, they're just like, okay, I'm just going to work, and I'm just going to work on a plantation. Like, that's literally what we still doing. We still working on the plantation. Yeah.
Modern day slavery.
Yes.
The pay wages, like, in the jobs that are being done, the pay rate is not as high as it should be. Like,
no. And Willie was
being worked.
The pay gap. Black women.
That's crazy. I was just
Black
talking
women
to him about
are the lowest paid in this country.
Yes, that's why. Yes.
Compared to Everybody.
Yes, and it's so crazy because I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, it's crazy because different marginalizations.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, being a black man is hard, but then you also have a woman, and then being a black woman at that, it's like 10 times harder than a Caucasian woman or whatever. Like,
and in the labor and union movement or labor movement, I fight for that too because the labor movement is mostly white men dominated. And then I have to explain to me people that black men, you still have a patriarchal um, complex, so you still have rights that women do not have.
Even though they do, I'm not saying that they don't have it hard. Like, y'all
right,
don't have it hard. No, y'all definitely have it hard.
Right.
Especially compared to
right.
the highest, the
Yes.
white man. But
Yes.
but it's like
you still have
a struggle.
one-up.
It's still a struggle. Yeah, it's still somebody that got a one up on you.
And not knowing that black women been the backs of every movement in this country. Like, we wouldn't have been able to be where we are today without black women. I'm talking about when black men went to the war. Who was right here taking care of
I was about to say got every strong black man got a stronger black woman. Okay.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. And I come from a family of strong black women, so yeah, and I have to fight for, like, I done been in the same room, like, with mostly men, and I had to speak up for women, even though, I mean, I shouldn't have to.
Yeah. But they don't want to listen to the women.
No.
So it's like you have, but when a man speak, it's like, oh, now he could be saying the same thing that she said.
Right.
But now you want to listen.
Right.
And that's the reality.
And a lot of women in unions, they speak up against that. Like, they'll be like, oh, so you just going to sit here and listen to what he had to say? You going to listen to what I got to say?
Yeah.
That's why I love a union woman, because they don't mind standing up, holding you accountable.
Yes. We love that. I call that strength. They try to say that's like dominancy, but I'm like, but then, like, why wouldn't you speak up for yourself?
Right.
Come on now. Like, we not about to play fools over here. Like, absolutely not. Because that's what they're going to do. And then you allow it to happen once. They're going to allow it. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again.
Because they're going to think it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like, oh, it's okay. She think, oh, he gonna speak for me. It's fine. Like, absolutely not. Like, I just said the same thing he just said.
Right.
Please. But I do know you have the Children of Mount Zion. Yes, LLC, your co-founder. What's that about?
So I started my business, Children of Mount Zion, LLC. It's a consulting business.
Okay.
So, and it's just using the gifts that God has blessed me with,
to pass it on to others.
Right. And one is youth empowerment. That's one of my passions. I do mentoring. Okay. I do tutoring.
Oh, yes. We love it.
Right. And the same thing I was doing in high school.
Oh, yeah. You already was prepared for this.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
God already prepared you for this. He already seen where you was going.
And just being in this movement, it's a lot of people, and it's not even just the union movement, but even with churches, you'll see a lot. Like, pastors stay in a seat for like 20, 30 plus years.
Yeah, and so that they have to go.
They have to go. Yeah. And unions work the same exact way. And, like, you have to kind of, like, okay, it's time for you to go.
Right now.
But so I don't have to, like, not force. No, yeah, I done had to force my way to be where I am, like, in the union movement, and that's because a lot of people, they don't want to support young people because they think, like, okay, y'all gonna come and mess stuff up, or you're not gonna keep it where I got it, and things.
But it's
like
not
that.
Supposed to stay there.
No, it's not.
Excuse me. Everything needs growth and everything needs elevation. And if you think you're gonna stay in the same spot that you're in, or try to have the same, things going on, it's not going to end up working out for you in the long run.
At all.
Times change.
And there's been times I just had to sit back and be like, okay, well, you think you can handle it better? Go ahead.
Yeah.
And then they come back to me, Dáminí, like, oh, okay, I was waiting for you. Right.
Yeah, literally. And that's how it is. Like, it's crazy because a lot of people who have had businesses for a long time, it's like you have to bring in the youth to spice it up, because the older people gonna start dying off. Right. Like, and if you want to keep this up and running, then you're gonna have to catch up.
And that's part of the business. Like, organizations that's struggling with that, like how to reach out to youth. we're able, like my business partner, her name is Tempest Tuggle.
Okay.
Um, and oh my God, I love her. We've been connected ever since the first day we met, and we done planned events together. We done planned like rallies together. We done did
Yes.
like healing work together, like all kind of
We
stuff.
gonna get into that.
Yeah. And so we was like, okay, we got all these gifts that we share, and we got these commonalities. Let's start a business. So she works more so on the campaign piece, like teaching organizations about capacity building.
Okay.
If somebody's running for office, she can help them with their campaigns.
Okay.
And then we both are products of the foster care system.
Oh, really?
So we also do advocate work for foster parents and foster children.
That is dope.
Oh yes. And then like with me, like I said, I do the tutoring piece, mentoring piece, like presentations, like last year. So at our CBTU convention, I did a workshop on um, digital organizing. Okay. So you know how we all got phones, and so I just was teaching people how you can use your social media to advance movement work. Like we already on here every day.
Yeah.
So it's
like
nothing to
you already
post.
have it in your hand.
It's nothing to post like, okay, it's early voting today.
Yeah.
It's nothing to post. Oh, get out there to an NAACP meeting.
Yes.
Like, and it's just teaching people to use their platforms. What celebrities should be doing,
but yeah, exactly. We ain't even gonna get too deep into that, but I'm like about to say something else. Like, but yeah,
but that sums up our organization business, and like I said, it's basically using the gifts that God blessed us with.
Yes, that's super dope, and I want to commend you because literally you taking what you've been through, the struggles that you've been through, things that you've learned, and you're applying them. You're not just letting them go to waste. You're literally not just applying them, but using them to help the next generation.
Oh yes, and even it started, and I learned elder told me in this movement work, if you can't organize your family to move and do things, you can be able to organize nobody else. Yeah. And I was telling my sister, because my little nephew, he had behavior issues and stuff like that. And so I'm telling her, she was like, well, I'm looking for a program to put him in, this, that, and the third. I'm like, sis, I did the same stuff in St. Louis. Like, just let me give me some time. Just give me some time with him. Right. You don't even got to go.
That's dope.
Send him nowhere. Like,
pay to send him somewhere. Right. All of that. Right.
And I can bring him to the country, teach you how to plant some stuff, like put y'all there in the yard, do some yard work.
Because when you were that, when you're young in that age, like that type of change, that type of transition, it makes a big difference.
That brings me. So in St. Louis, we were, and this was under my Children of Mount Zion umbrella too. Okay. So I partnered with another organization. I'm gonna think of the name of it, but we did a Melders to Manhood group. Okay. Teaching young men essential skills that they need as they become men. Because as Black men in America, we don't have no apparatus.
Yes.
Like that's indigenous to us. Yes. That teaches you, okay, you're a man now. We just talk. Okay, you're 18.
Go ahead. Figure it out.
Right. Instead of, you got 18 years old, don't know how to change a tire.
Yeah.
Don't know how to cook. Don't know how to cut wood. Don't know how to measure.
So y'all was like teaching them all those
Teaching them how to do, we taught them how to take out a hot water heater, taught them how the heating coils, how the hot water heater worked.
Wow.
Taught them how to paint, taught them how to check their oils, taught them how to check the tire pressure. Taught them how to cut wood, how to use a saw.
That's dope.
Oh yeah. And I feel like a lot of us as young men, we're entering the world unprepared. And
a lot of us, period.
Yeah, well, yes, a lot of us, period.
Yeah,
yes,
but no,
yes. And I say that because a lot of people are protective of their girls. Mm-hmm. Okay, no, you're not going to go on the street and do this and do that and do that. But with boys,
go ahead,
figure it out. Yeah, and not taking away from sister struggles at all, because I already know Black sisters have it way worse than we could ever.
And it's just the like, you go to school, you go to college, but like nobody really teaches you how to life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, all right, outside of the square root of 57, like, how do I do this? How do I
And it took,
do a lot?
I would say it took like college professors who saw something in me to like take me to the side to tell me different things. Um, oh my god, or that cared for what they was doing. And a lot of them were
Yes.
black, but now I had a white college professor too, who like zoned in on me.
And you like remember that specific
Oh
one,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember
That's
his
how.
name,
But you remember his
oh yeah,
face
oh
if you
yeah,
seen him.
oh yeah, and the lessons that was
You
taught.
saw it.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, oh
Yeah,
yes.
but that's good. I want to discuss
What's that?
your rallies and your campaigns. I saw you did go out and vote
Oh
campaigns
my
and
gosh.
discuss how you got into that. What's it about?
So, when as a member of the St. Louis chapter of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists or
Mm-hmm.
CBTU, I had a mentor, and that's why I encourage people: please get a mentor, and someone who you know where you are, where you trying to be.
Mm-hmm.
That really helped me. And his name is Lou Moy, and he's been doing this movement work for over 50 years.
Wow.
He was president of the St. Louis chapter for over 35 years.
Sheesh.
When I became a member, he was just retired.
Okay.
He was actually part of the United Auto Workers Union, yeah, UAW.
Okay.
So they made the cars we drive and stuff. But so we have a committee called the Under 40 Leaders Committee in
Mm.
our organization,
Okay.
and it's for younger union members
Mm-hmm.
that's 40 and under. So he needed to start one for his chapter. So he told me, he said, I see your passion. You remind me of
Yeah.
myself when I was your age. We need an under 40 committee. Here you are. Get you a co-chair, make it yours.
Oh, period.
Since then, like we was planning rallies to educate other young union members.
Yes.
Um, so we plan like educational events because a lot of young union members they just don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
And a lot of people, like you said, uneducated. Me,
right.
I'm one of them. That's why I'm like taking in all of this information, all of this knowledge, because I'm uneducated on the things that you're speaking about as well. Like that's what it was like. Me, hello.
And but I knew that because a lot of even you'll be surprised some unions don't even educate their members on like liberation
Mm.
work, like community work.
Mhm.
That's because they want their members to just pay dues, like
Yeah. They
just
just
give
want
us
to
your
check.
money,
Yeah.
yeah. But they don't want their members to become like to get in leadership because one thing about unions, you don't see a lot of black people in leadership
Mm.
because it's
I'm
like
not surprised.
y'all the peasants,
Yeah.
y'all go do the work. And I was like, I'm making a change in this. I'm making a change in this, and
Being a true
so
revolutionary.
right, and so and it just started ever since I told you about the time when the AFL-CIO came there, the unions
Yeah.
that's over all the
Uh
unions.
huh.
When they came there and they asked me to speak, ever since then I've been on the mic, been at a rally.
And that's like you said, you were sitting at your desk, then you went out there, and but like you said, ever since then you've been on the mic and stuff like that. That means it was like already in you. It came natural
Oh
to
yeah,
you. Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm scared or
oh
I'm
yeah.
shaking.
I
Like
was already. I told you I was bullied, so I
yeah,
always advocated for the underdog. Like I
we
have
love it.
always advocated for the underdog, and I hate seeing those who going through situations that I've been in or worse.
Hmm.
And especially younger people. And I'm just doing what I can to to make it easier. I can't say I
Yeah.
can keep it from happening, but to make it easier.
Or yeah, and to help others, it's happened because like when you go through certain things and you don't have anybody there to help you figure out the pieces or help you figure out the trauma or help
Mm,
you do something different than what you're used to doing, like and that's when you end up going
yes,
left, and it's like
spiraling.
yeah, literally like going all the way left, and people are literally products of what they've came from
Oh
and
yeah,
who they're surrounded by. If you don't have that type of, like you said, mentor or figure in your life, somebody that you can look up to, somebody that you can call on if you have a problem or you need help, then it's not easy.
right. And it's hard. It's easy to get in a dark hole, and you struggling to survive.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
it takes like a awakening moment or that person to kind of wake you up, be like, get it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you have that moment?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. I was homeless actually,
Oh wow.
in Chicago, and yeah, I had a moment, and
Mm.
like the spirit of God like just told me I had to do. It was like 5 things I had to do to succeed in life. And one was to forgive anyone who have ever hurt me in life, including my parents, including grandparents, like family, anybody. I had to stop making fast money. So any hustling going on, you got to stop. You know, keeping God first, of course. And some other things.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
If you don't
but
want to,
they'll come up. But and God just showed me at that time, like I'm always there with you. You know, so even if you're going down the street, you know, and like you're talking to me, like I'm gonna send you signs, and it's been happening ever since.
That's a blessing,
Oh
and
yes,
it's like it's crazy because your struggles. That's what like the things that you've actually experienced is why you hurt when other people are in that situation.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the things that you have went through, like you said, it basically catapults you into the journey that you're on today. Like making sure that other people don't go through the things that you went through. And it's just amazing how you have overcome, like, and how you still kept God in you and with you through those moments when a lot of people at those times would be like, man, God who? Like, if
I went through that.
you,
Oh yeah.
okay, well, we love the honesty. Yes.
Yeah, I question God.
Let them know, like, and that's okay.
Oh yes.
I told somebody that the other day. They was like on some other stuff, and I was just like, ask God. Like, it's okay. Like, talk to Him. Like, He wants you to talk to Him.
Gotta show you.
Yeah, don't just be like, I don't want to question God. I don't want to, like, we're human. Yeah. He knew what was gonna happen when He gave Jesus. Like, we already know the vibes. He already knew what was going on. So literally, go through your emotions. That's the only how you're going to get through those emotions.
Oh yes, I had to build a relationship with God. Like He's my best friend. Like we get God
like your
right
homeboy.
God said right here. Like,
yeah.
And I had to learn how to do that. And I couldn't. And one thing else I had to learn not to let other people dictate my relationship with God, which I struggle with a lot of my life, and will even cry because I'm like, well, this is their vision, but I don't fit that vision. Yeah. And God was like, it's not meant for you to. Like, yeah. You know,
you're not supposed to be.
I got you.
You're not supposed to be in the room.
Right.
You're not supposed to be doing that.
Right.
Like, right. You're supposed to be the underdog or the outlier.
And now I see God at everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't. And me doing that, I see how much people don't do that.
Yeah, and they don't. Mm-hmm. And I've been around. I've seen people. You know, they try to fake it, but it's like
yeah. I can see through you.
Yeah, literally see right through that. Like, please don't try to. One thing I hate, like somebody trying to cap on God. Like, please don't even do that. Yeah, that's real crazy. Yeah. But do you feel like that if you would have never went through the struggles that you went through, you would have never been able to build this type of relationship that you have with God?
I know for a fact. It took those moments for me to cling to God. You know, because I was.
He's all you had.
Right.
You need.
I was out in another city, no family. You know, I was in a bed apartment building. You know, and I still remember the night like it was last night. It was a full moon, and the spirit was just talking to me. You know, and the next day, I'm just testimony. Yeah. The next day, I got on the train. My brother, he was staying in St. Louis. He was like, "Come visit me." I'm like,
the next day?
The very next day. Once I made this vow to God that I was going to change. So I was in St. Louis for about a month. And it just so happened I had applied for a job as a bartender at Applebee's. I got that job, moved back to, moved back, but went back home to Chicago. And I was bartending for, like, I've been bartending about since 2010.
You still bartend?
Oh, yeah, now I just bartend in private parties.
Okay.
So it's not like at a
it's good to know.
Oh, yeah.
If
you ever need me,
yes, it'll be like it'll be.
Yes. Like I don't bartend for the AKAs, for the Alphas. In St. Louis.
Oh yeah, you done a lot.
Oh yeah, it's like private parties. If you need a bartender, I'm the one for you.
That is crazy. I'm like he has went through a lot. You have went through a lot. You have done a lot, and you're short time
Oh yeah.
on this earth, and I can only imagine what else you got in store to
I'm gonna say this
happen.
just a tip of the iceberg.
Literally, like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know you just telling me some
Oh
crumbs. Like,
yeah.
this ain't even the full spread. We can't even. We'll be on this show for
Right.
10 hours,
Forever.
child.
Right.
But that was dope. I love your story. I love that. Like, it's like I'm all about the positivity. I'm all about
Mhm.
somebody who can turn the negative into a positive, turn what you've been through and what has happened to you, and using it as a blessing for others.
Yes.
Like, that's beautiful. That's a
Yes.
wonderful, like, a testimony.
Yes. And I got to, cause I don't feel like I'm doing my due diligence
Mm-hmm.
if I don't do that every day,
Yeah.
some kind of way. So like, yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some of y'all can learn and take notes. Please take notes, honey, because it's other people. Like you said before we started, he was talking, and he was like, you hate people that complain. It's
Okay.
like, or it's like about what's wrong. Like, okay, but what you gonna do to fix it?
Right.
Like, you just sitting around and complaining. Like, you have other people who have went through worse things than what you even going through right now. So
Oh yeah.
tighten it up.
Yeah, and I was once that woe is me person. Like I'm like, well, I had a bad childhood. I grew up in foster home. My
Mm-hmm.
fingers been cut off.
Yeah.
Like, like every excuse in the world,
Please, like.
And so, like, in the spirit ministered to me one time. Like, okay, well, it's easy for you to keep, even with the guy who cut me the $2,000 check for school.
Mm-hmm. You could have dwelled on that and
Yes.
sat in that.
And even though I called him and let him held him accountable,
Yeah. You gotta do that.
After a while, I'm like, I can't hold this against him. Like, what am I doing about this?
Yeah.
And as you see, I went to school until I couldn't go no more.
Yeah. We literally.
Right.
But no, that was a key.
Yes.
But nah, that's real, and everything that you have been through, you can't see it on you. Like, when he walks in the room, you would never know. You would never know that you've been through the things that you have been through.
Yeah.
Literally, like, you know, positive, happy, a ray of light. Like, it's like you literally would never know.
And I gotta keep it like that because I found out that your energy is contagious.
Literally.
And
people can feel it.
Yes.
Or the people who can feel it when you come in.
Yes.
And you can tell, like, when somebody's like,
yeah.
And when it's like, oh,
you can
I'm
tell
just
open.
open. Come on now.
Yeah.
Let's chit chat. Like,
yeah.
So, do you have any advice for anybody that's looking into becoming a revolutionary or getting into union work or anything like that? Or even talking about young leaders. Yeah, anybody who's.
I would say just know that this work is dangerous. It's a dangerous job. And the more knowledge that you build, the more dangerous you become. And they didn't get rid of the leaders that was bringing all the black people together for no reason. If you pay attention to history, not even just in the United States, in Jamaica, and Brazil, and all the countries in Africa, they killed all their leaders who was bringing everybody together.
Wow.
And now we are where we are, because everybody in their own silos now, doing what they want to do. So just keep in mind that this work is dangerous, and the things that has happened that preceded us happened for a reason, and a lot of that reason is a lot of reason why black people are in the situations we're in. But to use all your God gifts and talents, like your podcast.
Yes, thank you.
To change the world. Like, you have to do something. You can't just sit. You can't just sit and idle and let these people just do
literally
what they want to do.
And just sit back and be like, these people out here are terrible. Like, okay, well, what you gonna do to help these terrible people out? Because they didn't have the guidance. They didn't have the help that you might have had. They don't even have the point of view or perspective that you may have. Like, we know God. Some people haven't even been introduced to God.
Right.
Like, they like God who? Because nobody introduced them. Nobody, and they never took the initiative to go on that walk because they have experiences and stuff that's happened.
And I have friends who are atheists or believe in different things, and I just tell them, like, I only can show you what God through me.
Yeah.
And
you're not gonna like let the light that God has put in you dim when you're around those individuals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had one friend in North Carolina. She was an atheist, but we loved each other,
Yeah.
you know, and she just loved being under me, and I'll make jokes with her, like her having like personal conversation. I see, that's the God in you, you know.
Yeah, literally, you got
Right.
it's a little, just a
Right.
little sprinkle, just a little
Right.
sprinkle.
Right.
Cause it is, and He created all of us, so
Right.
and you can't just go around to people who believe in God.
Right. And I would tell people to also like have your own mind. Um,
Mm-hmm.
People they don't know like this government is literally selling our brain waves. Like yes, literally, if you look it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Colorado or California just passed a law
Mm-hmm.
to protect their citizens' brainwaves. But you can tell, like, you talking about something and pop up on your
Oh
phone.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
that happens all the time. It's
all
like
of,
I could be talking about, oh, I need these new shorts,
oh
and
yeah,
then I go on Instagram, boom, some new
yeah.
shorts.
Independent thought is a threat. That's why they're trying to get rid of TikTok. Also, you
Mm.
know, they don't like independent thought. Anything that exposes um, what's been
The
done to
truth,
us.
yeah, the
Yes,
truth, literally.
yes. Those in power is going to do whatever they can. But like I tell people, just like these people are planning, they meeting all the time, 24/7. What we doing?
Mm.
You know?
Sitting around, yeah.
And power takes two things: organized people and organized money.
Mm.
Um, and if you don't have those things, it's shot. Like, and it got to be organized because these people, they're organized. They have organized people.
Yeah,
They have organized money.
yeah, yeah. Organization important, and it's a lot. That's difficult in the Black community.
Oh yes.
Organization, being organized,
Oh
child.
yes. They don't
But we got
want
people like
accord.
you who are putting in work, who are trying to make change, not just talking about what's going
Oh
on.
yeah.
Yeah, really being a revolutionary, and I commend you.
Thank
I
you.
thank you so much for coming on this podcast.
Anytime.
I pray that you have nothing but more blessings and success in all that you do.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for tuning in to episode 2, season
Yes.
2. And we out this bitch.